Hello everyone, and welcome to today's live stream where before we go to the main course for today, I want to show off this little fake motion blur setup that I made. It's very cursed, but a cool little concept, I guess, where we have this red shell bouncing around, and we can see that it is just a ton of instances for the motion blur trail. Now, this kind of works similarly to how at least Eevee's stepped motion blur works, where, let's go over to here, you can have steps where it goes and interpolates the objects back in time, and I guess meshes, in that case, if it has the same topology per frame. But I was like, you know what if we just did that physically, in a sense, using instances? Now again, this is a horrible idea. But it's just a fun proof of concept where I just changed the alpha for all of the instances besides the first one in this curve line trail, which we can see that's that right there. It just goes along and does that. And yeah, I just changed the alpha down based on the gradient, and then it does that. So if the resolution is high enough, it looks like motion blur. Again, terrible idea. Do not do this, but it's a fun proof of concept. Though, with that out of the way, let's go to the main course for today. So, recently, I watched Fantastic Four, which it was a good movie, though the third act was interesting, but I won't do a movie review today. But I want to recreate, at least try to recreate, the Flame On guy. The Human Torch, that's his name. As you can tell, I've been a little out of the comic book movie space. But yeah. Yeah, I just want to try that. So my idea is I'll have this little, this little model right here, maybe pose it a little bit, but the guy will just be flying on this kind of, yeah, kind of like this. Let me zoom in the camera. This is from an old project. Wait, where's the real camera? Ah, there you are. It'll be like this, or I kind of want the field of view to be a little more like that. It'll be like this, the guy will be like this, flying around. What's the HDRI in this case? Let's see, world, iteration to 1. Oh, that might actually work well for this. This is the Metro Nord one. Okay, yep, that'll work. So it'll be like this, and I'm going to have not particles, not a simulation, just a texture that comes out from this guy and makes it look like there's fire. So I'm thinking of a few ways of doing this. I'm coming at this with the game engine approach, I guess you could say, where it'll just be a mesh with a shader on it, and then it does all that. I'm still wondering which parts will be geometry nodes based, but I'm going to try, at least at first, to do it all in one shader. So I guess to start out, I can try to adjust. Let me go and reset the rotation. Or actually, I can try to do this in a smart way where I still have the posed character, but they're sharing the same object data, so I can edit one, and it will go to the other. Oh, that is a brilliant idea. Let's go and hide these surroundings, and the spark particle, we don't need that there. So I'm gonna use this for like the orthographic version, place the 3D cursor right there. Then I'm gonna rotate the head a little bit. Maybe let's go and turn on some proportional editing. I can make the neck move a bit more as well. Want it so that the guy is looking up a little bit. Yeah, a bit more like that. Yeah, that's good enough. And the arms right there have a very nice wing shape already, so yeah, that will work perfectly. Okay, so that's set up. So let's go and try to make our mesh. So I'm still a bit unsure on how to actually do this. So one problem with, I guess, geometry node effects that I have not figured out is the kind of just making a mesh that kind of forms over another mesh for the kind of fire or atmospheric effects, where, let me just do a quick demonstration. Let's turn this off 3D cursor. Is the music too loud? It's rivaling, not viraling, how loud my voice is, so let me turn that down by just a little bit. There we go. So the idea of, oh, we have a mesh that's like this, where it's like that, but then the surface here deforms it, and the end is open, but it's a more shrink wrapped almost to the surface. So I'm thinking, how would I actually do this properly? We're up here. The mesh needs to be super closed off so that the UVs will work. Like, this will be like that. So again, it's like, oh, there's this old game that I played ages and ages ago when I was just a wee lad. That was called Kerbal Space Program. Really, really old game. But it would have those effects for, like, re-entry. Let me change this to local, because that's becoming very annoying very fast. But it would be like that, and then the fire. So I want to do that, but make it much more form-fitting with each subdivision. So how would I do that? Like, I could try shrink wrapping, but I feel like that's probably a bad idea. I don't know. Let me try this out. I'm gonna try it with a repeat zone. So let's see, repeat zone. And then it'll just be subdivide, then shrink wrap. That's the vision. And there we go. Oh, and I can use my SDF mesh setup. Oh, this will work very well. Subdivision, subdivision surface, Let's read the chat. Oh, it's old, but mods are very, very well updated, and it's an amazing game. I remember playing it for, like, maybe a few months back in, like, 2012, if I had to guess. Maybe 2014. But I have not kept up with it since. Okay. What else was I going to do? Okay, we need a set position, but also the SDF mesh, which this node group has been so incredibly useful. I'm so happy. Though, should it be... They're both going to be moving, so yeah, no, that'll be fine. I'll need that into scale. Scale? Vector... Why? Okay, I'm not gonna worry about that right now. It'll be like that, and then that'll be the offset, but I want the offset to be negative. Again, this gives you the normal and the signed distance, though in this case, I think we would only need geometry yeah, we just need a geometry proximity node. This is a bit overkill. But I also want to make it so that if it's beyond a certain point, it stops being form-fitting. Like that, it'll be like that, and then maybe smooth. I'm still trying to figure this out. Let's see. Blur attributes, and we can do all that. It'll be like that, but again, the effectiveness, if it's past a certain point, will be 0, and then all that will be done. So kind of like that. You can see the vision. So, yeah, the vision's kind of like, okay. It's working a bit better than I thought. Okay, this might work. This may work. I have both of those selected. And then here, the only parts that I want to actually be affected by that will be here and there. So I'll make a nice vertex group for that. Hopefully this will work well. So we will scale this again based on a vertex group, except we will do that beforehand so that the blur will fit there. Okay. Let's see if this actually works. I think it might. And a little... Oh, yep, that's gonna work. That's going to work beautifully. Though I may need to make it so that the hands are... Okay. So it'll be like that. Let's go and scale this on that axis. So we can get that general shape going, and then that. Then I may have a second layer where it's like underneath the arms so that we can get a bit more volume to it. But I think in this case, I think it might be good to go. So there, we can do that and then scale it out. Okay, good. The vision is there. So now I just need to set up the UV map. So here I'm going to reset AU follow active quads, which I should have a nice little node group to normalize UV maps, which I could do quite easily. So geonodes, this will be... Oh, that would be a really good node group for that. Okay, let's go and do... Let's see. So, store named attributes. Let's have this. This, by default, will be a UV map. I'll do this right here. This needs to be face corner, 2D vector, because that's how UV maps are stored in Blender. Named attributes. It'll be the same name right here, vector. Then I'll use a map range. So I could do this manually, but just in case I want to keep adjusting the UV map, like the proportions, it'll just auto-normalize. Let's go and get an attribute statistic. There you go. Dang it, I'm all over the place today. Unfortunately, I am extremely tired, which I know for these streams is not uncommon, but for some reason, I was out yesterday, and for some reason, it took all of my energy out of me. So I am running on fumes once again. There we go. So we can do that and now auto-normalize it. So we should see in the shader editor, let's go to the object, new shader, UV map. Let's go to there, and we should, in theory, see that that is normalized. Okay, good, good, good. Now we will have to deal with the seam, which we will eventually. Let's go and rotate. That is a little bit odd. No, that's actually fine. Okay, so we have that. So we have the character draped in a blanket, and we need to make this blanket be made out of fire. So let's use a noise texture, even though, let's use a ping pong. Oh, we still don't have ping pong with vector math, which is actually not that bad because I only wanted this on one axis. What I'm doing here is I'm mirroring one of the UV parts so that the seam is essentially invisible, which I did that to the wrong one. Which axis? X and then Y. Okay, so Y, should X, no, Y needs to be vertical, yep. X is horizontal. Okay, so that's working as intended, so we can see that that's fine. We can take a look at the noise texture, which will be 3D. So now it looks like, if we go and change the values for that, it appears to not be seamed, which in reality, we're just doing a cheap trick where we're mirroring it instead. So this side and this side will both have the same texture, but hopefully it'll be unnoticeable. So let's go and collapse that, put it into a nice little frame. So let's go and set up the shader. So right here, I'm going to have you and you. Let's go and, do we do a map range? How do I set up the shader to be correct? So I'm going to use my classic LG light fall off. Here, there's the internals. It's basically a really nice method for getting very crisp gradients, as we can see here, though we need the y-axis. So it's going to be using that. Wait a minute, something... No, that's correct. Okay, so it'll be that, and it'll be like that. Okay, I'm still trying to boot up today, if you can't tell. See, let's do that. Let's go and use a... Not separate XYZ, even though it would be nice to use the multiple channels. I think this will be fine. We'll just use multiply, throw that into there. Then we can see that we have a very nice gradient right there, which we can use for the emission, though I will need to animate this. So let's go and get hashtag frame going. Okay, that's good. I'm going to put this into... Yeah, let's go and make this into a node group. This is one reason why I dislike drivers with all of my soul. That's an exaggeration. Drivers are useful, but they can be quite annoying to use. So I'm just going to put that into a frame so that I can use that because we don't have constants in the shader editor, so scene time cannot be added. Hopefully one day we will have constants because that will cause a revolution in the shader editor, just like the compositor, even though the compositor has had constants for, I think, a while. I would have to double check on that. Let's go and get an emission texture and a transparent one. Throw it into there, put this into there, take a look at that, bring this over to here. And then we could go into here, change this to be blended. Transparent shadows will be on, which we will need to compensate for. But there we go. We can see we have a very nice looking gradient right there. Just like that, without too much being done, it already looks amazing. So we can turn on that and that'll be like that. So I will need to constrain. I need to make it so that it won't get too blown out at the end there. But we can see that it is working quite well. Let's go and use a vector math multiply node afterwards. Let's go do that. So here we can see, oh, that is looking beautiful. And I'll make it look even better in a bit. 0.05. Let's get the animation going, because that will be the crux of this setup. We need a vector math multiply, and then, do we do this? Yeah, let's do it before. I keep forgetting whether I should do this before or after. Oh, actually, should this be scene time? Okay. Frame. I could do that, though. Okay, let's not worry about that right now. Let's use a divide node. So here, and we do not want that on the X, we want it only on the Y. There, and we need it to be subtract. Keep forgetting about that as well. So just like that. So here, you can see we have something going on, and that's good. So let's go and turn up this. Okay, a little bit too fast. Let's slow down. This will be a bit annoying to fully figure out. It is using, okay, the z-axis is like that, right? So we need to slow you down. I want it to still evolve, but still, you know, be good and all that. Okay, so here I think for the form, I guess I'll call it, we need to go and turn down the blurring. I still want it to be like that. Let's go and move it. Oh wait, that's why I was going to use the SDF. I want it to be on the surface, but a little bit, I want it to be a little bit above the surface. Yep, that's why. So I want to subtract from the SDF. That's why I was going to use it. Isn't it fun when it's just like, oh, I remember why I was going to do something. Something's up. Let's go and double check this. Oh, we want that to just be one level. Okay, that was the problem. That was a problem, which it looks like we have a myriad of problems on our hands, which I will need to amend in a timely fashion. Well, that's just 0. Okay. Okay. Let's be like that. So that will snap it directly, and we want it to be just a little bit above. So if we have multiple layers, it'll do that. So it'll be form-fitting, but still be above the surface. So, okay. Oh, that is some very nice looking hair right there. Let me pause at the right frame. Yeah, there we go. Very nice hair right there. So we can have that, but we can see that there's still some issues, which I was hoping that wouldn't be as bad. Maybe it still needs to be not entirely on the surface. Yeah, how do I do that correctly? Because if I do this with an iterative approach, I can move it like 75% of the way, and it'll keep getting closer and closer without being too close. Because we're at 3 iterations right now, and the main thing that I need, and this is to avoid doing it manually so that I can... so that I can adapt this to more objects. Getting there. That to be bad, no. I mean, is the form just fitting super well? If I make it a little bit... Oh, yeah, no. Okay, it is. Not bad, but that part still annoys me a bit. Stretch it out a bit more. Okay. I'll need to look into a better process for that, but we are, again, getting there. Need to do is move you, even though, yeah, I need to really look into off-stream. Good solution for all that. Here we can go and do that, that's fine. It's almost like that's the wake. So I think I might need to add in an extra loop and then set this to be 0. Because I want it to balloon out more. Let me turn on that. Okay. A little more like that. Maybe a little more like that. No, I'm not feeling it. Maybe I need another one for... Okay, so this is the outward cone, and then we need the inward cone. Maybe. Maybe. So here we have the one that's just over the top, and then we need one that's on the interior. That might be the way. And most of this will be in the shader, so I will have to go and fix all that. Here, let's go and get the UV map, go and make this all nice and organized, even though I might need another texture, though probably not. We have that, that goes into there. Let's put everything into a frame that needs to be in a frame. That's our gradients, even though we might use that for more. And then the colors, okay. So here, if we set this to be a smoother step, we might get a cooler gradient. Yep, that's looking quite nice. Here we can adjust this so it's more like that. Okay, maybe. This might work, if I set it up right. Okay, let's go and get the layer weights. Let's go and set that. We need, yep, facing. Let's use a map range, because we need to not be able to see basically that part. Though, the annoying part is when this happens. Yep, the one thing keeping volumes from, keeping volumes out of my reach, or fake volumes. So we have that. Let's go and invert this so that I can actually go and multiply the two. Again. See how this works? Okay. Again, making it try to fake the volume look. Okay. Again, we're getting there. So I just need a bit more. Yeah, no, we're seeing a few issues right there. The UV map not long enough, or is the speed not fast enough? Also looks like it might need another subdivision level, so I'm not entirely sure about that. Oh, and that should be set to 1. Keep forgetting about that. Because we're setting the speeds with this, I want that to be completely normal, completely regular. Okay. Then we can set that to be 0.5. And it's a little annoying that the hair, or the fire, is starting right there. So let me go and move you up, and maybe scaling that does absolutely nothing. I might need to... Now this is more of a reentry effect. I have made the mistake again of not looking at reference from the movie. Even though I still want to make this my own. That just looks like fire hair, which looks very, very cool. But yeah, no. Not quite what I'm going for. But it does look like a reentry effect, so I guess it kind of worked. Yeah, and we're at 23 minutes. Okay, not the worst. I thought we were at like 40, which would have been absolutely abysmal. We do that. Like, I can add in, here's a little tip for everyone who doesn't know. You can make pseudo motion blur with effects that use time like this by using white noise. Basically dither the time. So here I can do this to add in a blur. So that, how do I demonstrate this in a really good way? So here, if we do this, let me go and make the, let me go and multiply this by a lot. You can see here that without the blur it looks like this, and then with it, it's like this, because we're literally dilating the time. Here it's by 1 frame, here it's by 2. Well, I generally am against doing that because I hate dithering with most of my soul, because the default pattern... Actually, I should try my own dithering at one point. Yeah, I need to look up different dithering algorithms because that might... Even though here it's not too bad. It gives a very soft effect, but I want to not have to rely on it. Okay, so let's ignore that for now. But yeah, you can see how with this, it's very instant, which we do want. But there it's very... yeah, out there. Okay, so this is a reentry effect. Not bad, but still not what I'm going for. It just doesn't feel right. Ooh, but also, since I forgot that I'm in 4.5. I can do displacement, which is so nice. I've been waiting for this for so long. Now it actually feels, let's see, we need the geometry. All right, for displacement, we need to subtract the position from the results. Here, it's just the displacement, so we plug that into there, set a scale. This displacement uses the base position already. Up here, we should excusez-moi. Let's put this into a frame, because we do need to organize this a bit more. Alright, because displacement is disabled. That explains it. Displacement only, even though in Eevee, it's unsupported. Wait a minute. Wait, no, that sets the position, right? This is an offset. I'm remembering experiments I did a long time ago. Oh, isn't that grand? Look at that. So beautiful. I am detecting the lag, which is not ideal. Okay, so with this, we just need the gradient, we need a map range, and then we gotta plug that into there. Okay. It is slowing down the shader a lot, because I think it's compiling for the vertex shader and the and the fragment shader. So we could do that, though we can see a few issues with this line of logic. And also, why is it corrupting? Oh, because it's affecting the bump map. Now, this is a weird quirk with Eevee, which I assume they just didn't have time to implement this. Displacement only should be a thing, but yeah, no, that's another thing that's made me be like, oh, dang, displacement is still not finished. Because stuff like this, I do not want that to be affecting that. And also would be quite, in theory, faster for it to only affect the geometry, the vertex shader. I almost want to try modding that in myself, but I do not have the skills for that. I have no clue how the shader editor works. Anyway. So I might have to do that with geonodes, even though that would be very annoying. Yeah. Like I would have to take out layer weight, or I could make the normal be stored by geometry nodes, which actually, can I just access that attribute normally? Though that wouldn't account for, yeah, no. Nope. Not a viable strategy. Not a viable strategy. Okay. So with that, I will keep that in mind, but on hold. So I'll just delete that because it's, again, only 2 nodes. But that does look quite good. I just need to change some of this to be a little bit better. So what is the problem? Is it the distortion? No, I think it is. We need more of these. We need more of that. We need faster speed. Because again, the longer the streaks here determines that. Then here it's too fast, so we gotta turn that down by a bit. Nope. That down. Let's try it the other way around, where I subtract after the multiply, because that should make the speed, at least visually, work a bit better when I scale it. Here it's like that, where if it's like this, we can see the speed is relatively the same. Oh yeah, no, that works a lot better. So I can move that to be a bit faster. And the flame evolution. Okay, that helps. Okay, just a little bit faster. Little bit faster. Maybe not quite that fast. And here I can set it to be whatever I want, so maybe around 15 is fine. A little bit faster. And then there. if we do that, we can see that that happens, so we can go and choose whatever. And again, if we set this to be point 1, yeah, it's about the same, so I'm thinking 4. Even though this would be, like, just floating at around maybe, I don't know, 15 to 30 miles per hour. Well, here that's going at around 60, I would think. But yeah. So, I guess it's time for me to try out version 2. Which you may be wondering, wait, what's version 2 going to be? It's going to be a not shrink-wrapped version. It'll be one where I actually place, or it'll be less of a, yeah, not shrink-wrapped, but it'll be more like this. I have a plane that's like this, and then the ends here will also be affected by the noise. So it will not be a smooth fall-off like, or like a, you know, smooth, you know what I mean. It will not be a line, it'll be very varied. So I guess for here, I can go and turn off U. And I could go and apply the UV map geonode, but I may be fixing some things in the future. So I'm just going to keep that there. This will be normalize UV. Yeah, there we go. And then right here, how am I going to do this? So it'll be like this, where I have all that still there. We'll delete all this. We will go and scale this on the y-axis to be 0, go and apply the scale so that I have this. Then I'm going to throw on a regular subdivide modifier. Make it so that those two, or just because this is easier, I'll do this and make it so that flares out. But it'll be like this. You see the vision. Almost, but it still has that kind of, man, that works so well. I should have just started out with that. So much simpler. So much. So we have that, but I need to make it so that at the ends, there will be some variance. So I'm considering how to do that. Should it be UV map based? Just have the UV map, and then at the ends, it'll fade out to what I want, or do I make it so that it's like vertex group based? Which unfortunately, actually, wait a minute, let me check this. Group, can we get vertex groups in the shader? Without converting them using geonodes? Apparently not, which sucks. Again, vertex groups, I think it's planned that they're going to be turned into generic attributes, but not yet. So we're going to have to do another fun thing where we're going to use geometry nodes to convert attributes once again, though. This will be... ah, dang. I mean, I could just use vertex color, but that's less convenient. So I'm going to use geonodes to just convert these to generic attributes, which in theory could convert it to a color one. What would be the best option? Color, and then boom. It's like, oh, it's now available. Just floats are not accessible. That should be changed, in my opinion, because attributes should be able to get all the attributes. But we have that. So we have all this. Let's go and remove U, select U and U, assign that. So that's the fade. Now I can dial that in when I want to. So if I do like the shader under the arms, I can do that. The fade here, I can also make that work. So I guess I can label this fade, though. Let's label this convert vertex group to attribute. And it'll have the same name, which is why we're sending it to color, so stuff won't get lost. Though, if I make it a vector, that will eliminate a channel that we do not need to use. Okay. So right here, we are going to... That's one reason why I like geometry nodes. It's just you can set something up that manipulates attributes and it just works. If you need to do a little conversion, it's like boom, 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 you're done. Let's see. Let me read the chat because I've neglected you for the past like 15 minutes. Let's see. Blender, especially geometry nodes, is very tiring for the brain, at least for me. No expert on drivers, but I use the ND add-on for non-destructive modeling and using drivers to move child objects when I extrude. The parent is immensely useful. Yeah, I do agree geometry nodes can be tiring just because, well, when people say geometry nodes is difficult, it's because just math is difficult. And with geometry nodes, we still have to do a lot ourselves because there are not many built-in node groups. Like the SDF mesh thing, I would really like it if that was in there by default, but unfortunately it isn't. Okay, what was I gonna do here? Even though, okay. Actually, I should try modding that in. A checkbox to sign the distance. Though that would need, no, I would have to mod in it, capturing the normal attribute and doing all that. Yeah, no, that would be more complicated. Though I would have to look into the code to see if I could do that. Anyway, let's see. How would that look in a more stylized NPR way? I'm not sure. Though, if you're trying to go for a stylized NPR version, I would say get some hand animated assets. That would probably be better. Let's see. Hey, how stable is 4.5 for you guys? Any bugs? Stable, I haven't switched to it yet, should I? I've had 0 bugs in 4.5. 4.5.1 has been released with a lot of bug fixes, so people have been running into bugs. But since it's an LTS release, they're all getting squashed and implemented, which is nice. And the fixes have been implemented, you know what I mean. But for me personally, no bugs. It has been very stable, which is why I haven't switched over to it yet as my daily driver for work, but it's getting there, and I'm so happy that we're, there's, huh? Oh wait, that needs to be very, very inverted. I'm very happy that there is a stable version of a newer version of Blender. Okay, there we go. You can see that. That's what I want. Good, 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 good. Just multiply that into there. So that is the... Let me label these. So this is the... Fresnel. Oh, wait. Fresnel. Mask. And then this is just the end mask. And then... Yeah, that's the end mask. And then that right here is the... side mask. There we go. Move that back, move this over here, move that into there. I love the lines and the boxes. You just make nice little units, and it's all so nice and organized. And there's the final fall off. Oh. You good, buddy? Ah, okay, it's a little bit too faded. Okay. Let's go and turn this up so that's like 0.5. Again, here, yeah, this is more of what I'm going for, even though I think I need to adjust it a little bit more. Like up here, I'm not too happy with how that is looking, so I will need to adjust that, even though it... Wait, why does it look like it's spinning? Wait a minute. Let's take a look at the UV map. I have a theory. And my theory is correct. Do you follow active quads? Okay, so I'll do that, and then it auto normalizes. So nice. Even though I could auto generate the... No, that's not necessary. Okay, let's go back to shading. We have that, so now I'm going to manipulate the noise texture, so that's a little bit less stretched at the top. So we need to go into UV editing. Again, since it is auto-normalized, I don't need to worry about having to reset it every single time. Here, wait, which part is which? Ah, okay. So what I have to do is do this, move it up. Oh, that's a problem, though. There we go. And, oh, we can turn off the mirroring. Oh, very, very nice. So we can just go and skip all that. Cool. There we go. So if we set this to be 1 and 1 again. Okay, yep. Do that, that seems to be good, and then we can do that. 3. I think that's okay. Let's go and scale. I cannot scale this up, so let me just go and physically move those over to here and you over to there. Okay, there we go. So we're getting there. I'm just taking my sweet time to do it. So the idea is, there we go. Ah, and it disappears, which we don't really need it to disappear at a super sharp angle anymore. So I can go and set that to be like 0.9. I just want to get the really sharp stuff out of there. Okay. Here, I can go and remove a couple of the UV map parts that are now unnecessary. Really. Okay, this is how I should have done it from the beginning. Like that, and then we have that. Now, the subdivision is affecting it a bit more than I would like. Like that, and then we can just layer this kind of effect. It should work pretty well. Oh, it's almost... Oh, a cape of fire. That is an interesting idea. And then I'll need to randomize this per object to make it a bit better. But you can see the vision. My vision is coming to fruition. There we go. Oh, that is beautiful. Loving it. So yeah, I guess it's just a matter of what style do I want to go for. Like that. Then I can have another one that's more down here. Yep. Even though I'm still tripping over my own keys again and again and again. Yep. More like that. I am stretching the UV map a ton. Yeah, I will have to put in some more controls to make it a bit better. I want it to look a bit more like a jet at certain points. A bit more like that. Oh, got to go and do that. Okay, I will need to put in some parameters. One being adjusting the scale per setup. Yeah. Actually, I can do that with geometry nodes. I know I keep relying way too much on geonodes, but it's so useful, you know? Just storing attributes per object instead of per material. So here, if we use geometry nodes again to store an attribute, this will be higher scale or noise scale. I should stop capitalizing all of the things here. Oh, I just realized why I keep capitalizing attribute names. Blender does that. UV map group, vertex groups. That's why I keep doing that. Oh. Dang it. Okay, and if we do that last, I'll do GPU and CPU. So here, I will plug in a value so that I can control both of those. So here, it'll be the noise scale, just storing an attribute so that we can use it. So this will be scale. So this is so that I don't need to have multiple materials. Even though I could do that, I don't want to have to. Or, wait a minute. Because here, these two are using the same material. Oh, yeah. Getting lost in my own stuff again. Let's see. So let's throw this on here. So this will be... Where did I put that? Hello? Did I not name it? I did not name it. I am a genius, part-time. To be noise, scale, and I misspelled it. Yep, you can tell how tired I am. But we push through, because when you are full-time employed, you cannot afford to be tired. Attributes. Let's go and do noise. Noise scale. That's 8 and 3. Again, we're just gonna over-rely on geometry nodes. A very smart person. 8 and 3. Excusez-moi. Ah. Geonodes. I need to rename that. So here I can change this without having to go into the material. Well, that's good. Now we can just go and start building up more and more and more layers. Also, just to point this out before I forget, let's go and use the object info to, and we'll do this, yeah, we can do this after the scaling. I'm going to offset this randomly per object so that if I have multiple layers, they will not be in sync. I will read the chat in a second. I am so sorry, everyone. Again, with me being so incredibly tired, I can only focus on one thing. Just like every other stream I ever do. There we go. Okay, beautiful. Oh, and we have 31 people here. Hello. Yeah, I can just keep building up the layers and having more and more attributes. Again, with the fire hair. I do like that, though. Oh wait, there's a character that has fire hair like that. I don't remember. If you want to have a character with luxurious fire for hair, you can now do that. Let me save that, because I have not saved in the past 30 minutes, which shows my trust in Blender 4.5. Yeah. That's beautiful. So good. Let's go and bring this... Ooh. Oh, should I be using AGX? I know AGX. I should use it, but I still really like Filmic. Yeah, you just can't, like, the oranges just don't feel as good. I compare that to this. I should also put in some sparks. So let's go and throw in a Voronoi, which I may need to go and change the speed for this. So that'll just be 2 dimensions. We can go and use that to offset mask here. So we can go and just mix that into the fold, and that might be a really good or a really awful idea. So right here, if we do that, I will need to constrain it, but let's go and see what's going on first. There, okay, we can see that. So I'll normalize that and then use separate X, Y, Z and then multiply the distance by that. So need to constrain it first. So let's go and use the map range. So we do that, 0, 1, because what I want, something more like this, just dots. Just to manipulate the fire gradient a bit. Yeah, we can see that that's happening. So here, we can see nothing. There we go. Few spark particles there. Maybe I can make it so that I can, oh yeah, I can use map range to randomize the scale. I'm not sure if I'll keep this, but it's a worthwhile experiment. Here, ones of all different scales and size. Okay. That might work. Although, again, I do need to multiply the UV map. Oh wait, what was that? Oh, interesting. 0.25. There we go. Yes. You see the vision. You see the vision. We can just make that a subtract and then, actually no. Keep it as simple as possible. I usually assume that I use an add node. also remember that F is the new frame thing, which I do really like the changes that they made to frames. Like, nodes no longer shift around when you put them in frames, like the snapping. Now the grid is aligned no matter what you do, which I'm so happy about. So good, so nice. Okay, now one thing that I want to do is use a color ramp because I've been meaning to do some hue shifts. Make it so that the fire becomes a little bit more blue as time goes on. Let's see if I can make this work. I should be able to, though. And this should be a hue saturation value. Okay. I might need to use... okay. Oh, wait. This might work. So here we can see, like, the color change. That is... Yes. That's good, but I want it to also change to blue. So if I do... Oh, the bloom is a bit much. Let me go and turn down the strength to, like, 50. Yep. I'm cooking. Let me cook. Again, it's just a little bit too bright even still. And the more I lower it, the worse the gradients look. Let's see. Let's bring it down to here. More into blue. Like, we can see... why... Changes to RGB so that I can manipulate the gradients. So here, I want to make it so that the blue is just as incredible as the other ones. But we can see that it is a bit less than ideal. Okay, looks like I might have to set up a new gradient for this. Let's actually wait. When fire is hotter, it turns blue, not when it gets cooler. So there, it should be more like this, potentially. Yeah, no, I'm not feeling that, fortunately. Let's go and turn you to be just pure white. Yeah, no, I think just regular... Yeah, those hues will be a bit better. Also, let me go and turn that part off for now, because I think that's probably not the best. Though here, I may need to add in another fade to the top, so we can go and assign X group. Yep, there we yep. I'm a genius, part-time. So it's almost like a cape, though not quite. Do you and you, bring you down by a bit. Oh, that is looking amazing. I think the gradient might be a bit harsh, so we can bring that down. Yeah, okay. Well, I might just need to do some adjustments. Yeah, we're getting there. So maybe what I'm missing. Let's see. I will read the chat again. Okay, yeah, let me read the chat right now while we go and look at the beautiful shader. Oh yeah, that's looking good. Okay, I'm likely going to be using the NPR prototype for a long time. I haven't had time to rest. Yes. Some of those, quite a few of the features will be brought into Blender 5.1, I believe. Though the repeat zones will probably be in 5.0. Yeah. The NPR prototype was basically when the devs were like, oh, let's go and try making Blender a lot more useful for people doing cel shading and other non-photorealistic stuff. And it was meant to be an experiment, which it was a successful experiment. So they're going to be using parts of it and merging parts of it into Blender after 5.0. They promised all the modifiers to be geonoded, still waiting for the bevel node. Yeah, the bevel node, as far as I know, that's being developed by one person who's had very limited availability. So I don't know when we'll be getting that. But the idea of every single modifier becoming geometry nodes based, well, I'm kind of mixed on that idea, because since we already have the modifiers, it would be good not to remove them because they're just hard-coded. They just work, even though they might be slower, maybe? Well, with geonodes, that takes a lot more upkeep. Like, I'm half and half on the idea. I keep flip-flopping, whether it's like, oh yeah, let's geonode every modifier. We should be able to make new nodes or modifiers that are just as powerful as the old ones with geonodes, but completely redoing the internals of the current ones. I'm still half and half on. Still haven't thought it all the way through. But yeah, bevel, I know it's being worked on, though I just don't know what version it'll be. But when it does come through, it'll be a much better bevel than what we currently have. And then the Blender devs, the Geonodes devs, are working on parity for the UI between modifiers and Geonodes, which they're getting very close, which I'm so happy about. Though speaking of the bevel node, one thing that I need to bring up is when you change the profile to be custom, this has the option for handles on the curves, while the flow curve option does not have this. So when parity comes along, this will need to be implemented for, you know, pure parity. That, which, yeah. Oh, this, does this have automatic? Oh, yeah, no, there are a couple of options that just aren't there. So parity will be very nice. Okay. Let's see. Every time you discover something new or fix something in GeoNodes, a new problem occurs. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes. Let's see. Did you guys watch the old Fantastic Four cartoon from the 90s? No. Well, I was born post-2000. Which, apparently that's a shock for people for some reason. People keep thinking that I'm, like, over 25. And I still don't get it. My voice is not low-pitched. Let's see. Why is it bad to capitalize? Because when you're coding in basically every other program on the planet, you usually don't capitalize. Well, camel case is a thing, but usually with variables, you usually don't capitalize them because it's just unnecessary. But with Blender capitalizes everything. You add in new groups, you add in these, it's always capitalized. I guess it looks more proper, which is why I've just carried it over. Though, maybe not the best habit to have when you're trying to, like, convert code to nodes and all that. Okay. Let's see. What to do? Reading chat. They added repeat stones to the shader editor. They are, as far as I know, they're planning on putting that in 5.0. There's always a chance it gets pushed back. I kind of highly doubt that that will occur. Let's set speed point 2, because I still want quite a few of these to be available. Then more of those looks good, though, actually, wait a second. We'll multiply that to be 2. Get more. We do that, that'll be fine. Okay, more sparks equals better. Though I want to stay away from the kind of glitter look. So 1.5. I want it to look like there's sparks, but I don't want it to look like, oh, you're so shimmering while you're flamed on. Then we can make the fire a lot rougher, but I think 5.5 is the limit. And here this has kind of some vectoring going on, though I'm not the biggest fan of that, so let's go and open that up a bit more. I want to have the form there, and I want the form to be solid. And maybe let's go and bring this. I will need to have a shader on the actual human on the form. That does not look questionable whatsoever. There we go. So just having that. So I think this is fine. I do really like the flame cape. It's good. So here for the actual guy, let's go and use a layer, or actually wait, I'm just gonna go and copy nodes because I'm a lazy person. I'm just gonna have this, copy most of you, put you there, maybe use some triplanar mapping, maybe that would work well, though maybe just have that object space. So let's go and use just run an object. We can search for that now. I'm so happy about it. Let's go and plug you into there. We don't need noise scale. We can do that. We'll do that, and then we'll just have emission and a mix. You may be wondering, why don't you just use the emission right there in the principal node? This is so that I just can put this on anything. I do not need to rely on that. Put you, and put you right there, even though we might not need it. My voice is going a little bit. I can feel it. Let's go here, change this into an add node, have a multiply right here. And then we go and put you at the end, put you there, collapse you, put you over here, put you over there, bring you over here, and take that, look at that, do all that. Now we should see that it's getting a little bit better, although we need to change you to be like 50. Here, just so that it meshes a lot better, though the character is shaded flat, which I conveniently forgot. So here we'll set that to be 0 and 1, and that'll be 0 and 1. So this makes it look like there's a bit of, let's try multiplying this to, actually, what does the noise texture look like? Okay, way too small. Multiply, even though we don't need this to be random, so I could go and chop that out. So we just have that. Beautiful. Uh-oh. Okay, so we have... Brilliant. And speed is the same, so we don't need to worry about that. Yeah, we can do that, and then maybe just... Turn that up by a bit. Yes. Okay, there we go. And then we can make it a little more form-fitting. Okay, yep, I think this is good. Basically what I wanted to do. And then if I wanted to make this completely procedurally trailed, I might have to do some other stuff, but it's fine. And then there's the old version, which, yeah, that's fun. Even though I still think that one could work. Oh, that is amazing. Every once in a while I surprise myself. There we go. Oh my god, that looks amazing. Wow. So now I just need to go in and put in some, warbling, some movement. Even though... I might have to put in some delay, which I could use a rig for. Or just use geonodes. I'll need to think about that. Let's see. Isn't Cartesian Caramel using that hashtag frame node group? Yes, that's... With hashtag frame, 1 in every 5 to 10 times, hashtag frame will just randomly put in like a curve that just makes it inaccurate. So what I found works the best is I just do hashtag frame once, put it into a node group so that I can go and copy it and not worry about it. Like, it's... I don't know why it does that. but every once in a while, the operator just puts some stuff in that I don't choose. And I have tried to figure out why it's happening to make a bug report, but for the life of me, I could not figure it out. So just make a node group because we don't have scene time in the shader editor. Look at that. I am going to parent all these parts. Let me go and move some of these so that they're not completely aligned. Yeah, look at that. That's how it's done. Even though I think for the arms here, like that could be changed a bit. Yeah. Oh, and then like at an angle, I could add in another one. Go here. Go and rotate you on the z-axis by 90, or x90. There we go. So that we can also have that happening there. But as we can see, I need to go and squash it down by quite a bit. Go and move it up. So that's like right there. Maybe, okay, no, that needs to be scaled up by a bit more. Why are the ends just not faded whatsoever? And I need to go and scale the, so that's more like that. There we go. Again, just thinking like, oh, it's like a video game. How they just use cards at every single opportunity. What the hell is going on with that? Let me just use... Oh, I don't remember. Is that new? Or have I just not seen that? It's probably not new. I probably just haven't seen it before. Okay, so with just 4 layers, that looks quite good. And I just need to parent all these. So this will be fire layers. Do Control P, object. Again, let's select all these, move them into new collection. This will be fire. Wait, what? Wait. They already parented. Oh, they were. Okay. Let's see. Fire layers. And spelled it wrong, of course. There we go. So that's good. So now, oh, that is a problem. Let's go and just scoot you in there a little bit. Yeah, that's fine. And then we can go and bring you there. Yeah. So now I just need to go and apply some noise. This is just like look at that. A complex fire simulation or something I cooked up in an hour. And looking at different angles, like, you know, the clipping still happens. It's not that bad. Do you happen to know why GeoNodes don't have a string named attributes? Because it hasn't been implemented yet. It may be a bit complicated, but I'm really hoping they put that in, because, or at least for lists. Because I need that to work on some nodes that I want to get in 5.0. Like, as far as I know, it's planned. Like, with lists, it's planned that they can support pretty much any data type. Maybe, I'm not sure about geometry. Maybe geometry, I'm not sure. But, yeah. Look at that. It is beautiful. Except I'm not a fan of the lighting with this HDRI, so I may have to switch it. Like, yeah, that one's a lot better. And I could do some more compositing so that we can add in some streaks. Let's do that. So that's like that, and I just need to use the shader editor for everything because I want those, but I want the color modulation. I want a lot of that because that looks really, really freaking cool. Do that, and you turn the strength down by a ton. We just have a little bit of that going. Need the size to be bigger. It's iterations. Is there a size Because I don't want it to be simple star. Ah, no, that's why I gotta do it. I want to have a little bit of that, and then adjust that to be way down. Okay, and getting there. Maybe more color modulation. Yeah, no, that's looking pretty cool. Just put the roughness to 0 and bump up the metallic and call him the Silver Surfer. Well, that's too easy. That's way too easy. No, we're not doing that. Let's see. You can store scene time as an attribute. Yeah, but no, that needs to update every single frame, and I don't want to do that. It's like we can use their which attribute was it? We can technically get like scene time in the shader editor using view layer attributes, but in cycles they don't update properly. So what the devs, well, I believe the devs have said, which it's been a long time, so maybe I'm misremembering, is that constants should be the way to go because they're just faster and better, a lot faster than drivers. But implementing constants in the shader editor is apparently a pain in the buttocks. See, now I'm wondering, how should I animate this? Because do I use geonodes and triangle parenting because that's just easier to move stuff with? Or do I just use... Okay, no, I don't want to do that. Okay, triangle parenting it is. Yeah. When in doubt, triangle parent and call it a day. Though, in Blender 5.0, it looks like the attribute constraints may be implemented. Looks like it's in its final review stages, which I'm so happy about. I've worked quite hard on that node. Adding in a new constraint is a pain, because every single constraint in Blender is in one file. I'm assuming that's just because it, like, all the constraints are very old. Probably made when I was, like, 2. But, yeah. Might be the first new constraint in years. So, if I can pull it off, I will be so happy. Let's go and make this, let's just use Lockhart scale. We'll just have noise. And we need to use vector math because it doesn't auto-convert. Wait, what? Oh, yeah, that's why. Oh, wait, what? Ah. Just need to use a conversion there. Let's go and use a multiply node, so yeah, that'll be fine. We got that, and we can go into everything, so we can have 2 noise textures, one for rotation and the other one for location. I want this to, at least at the beginning, have the copy transform, copy global 2, copy global transform, paste global transform. Okay, I don't have the add-on that I use for that. On the copy, like copy extras. Our triangle, that should be good. So now when this is on, good. That looks hilarious. Okay, let's set that to be like 0.1, so I can just have that in there. So now that can be controlled by geonodes. Lovely. Beautiful. You love to see it. And I can time offset. Actually, let's time offset. Yeah. The rotation. So that the location is the main one. So here, you can have that. Well, the noise here will be a lot lower. So here, I think a bit of turbulence is fine. Maybe set to be like 0.25. Want it to look like the character's actually struggling a fair bit, like going through turbulence. Which I could still go in and add in, moving try. Could add in some noise, but I think it's fine. Controlize the beginning try. T, Control V. Let's go and rotate it a bit. This is why I love geometry nodes. Look at that. It's so simple, like, to do this using drivers or just animated noise using the graph editor would be such a huge pain. Let's go and set that to be 0.5. Now, I could try animating the arms to, like, try to do more, or actually, I should here. Let me go and do a bit of editing with, I need to go and make the feet so that they're angled so that it does not look like he's just chilling on the ground. Be angled just a bit. There we go. All right, and I need to Control L, link object data. Yeah, that's good. I could add in some asymmetry, maybe a little bit of animation, but I think it's probably fine. Yeah, that's pretty good. And maybe I can just lower the floor a little bit. That's too much. Negative 0.5. Maybe like 0.25. And I need to install a light. So let's go and put a light right where the triangle is. Make it so that, yeah, it's like that. Let's go and turn it up by a lot. It is all being shadowed, so I need to go and turn up the radius. Ew. Excusez-moi. I know. Wait. What? Ah, it was just way too faded. I can have that right there. I don't want it to affect the character all too much. It's going to set to be 1000. I just want a little bit of light to cast. Get the hue right. There we go. Yeah, that's pretty good. It is parented. Oh no, it's. Oh no, I need to parent that to the human because it's not triangle parented. Human, low poly. There we go. Much better. Try to make it so that there aren't any float point precision errors due to the shadows that are going on. Yeah, no, that's pretty good. It looks like I'm dangling it on a string, which is kind of what I'm going for. That's actually pretty good. And maybe I can add in a little bit of animation, like, boom. But no, I think that's fine. Just go back to the moving triangle. And if I put in a lot more noise, that happens, which isn't good. It makes it look unstable, which let's go and set it to there. I just need micro movements happening. Just enough. Maybe make the speed a little bit faster. Maybe a bit much. He's the human kite. I don't think kites look like that. Though, I think I do need to make him glow a little bit more. Just to make it match. Yeah. And actually, speaking of that, I do remember a much, like, inner glow. Like, a lot more red, but I kinda like this a bit more. Yeah, there's a few bits of customization I still wish to do. Okay, oh right, the noise scale is for every single one. Yeah, like 4? do kind of like how that looks, but whoops, 3.5. There we go. I think I still need to move these guys down a bit. Oh, that is the wrong one. Deselect those, and deselect these two. Bring it down just a bit. Yeah, I think that's good. And the few sparks here and there works quite well. And then, if I want to, I could make it so that it's just flying through space. Like again, right here, just set the power to be zero. Oh my god, that looks so much better. Why does that look so much better? Maybe a few, like, atmospheric things going around. Like, I could... This is super cheeky. But, like, just copy you, duplicate, move. Uh-oh. Let's clear parent and keep transformation. This is the cheekiest effect that I'm ever going to do. Just gonna do this. Get it to be that, and set the power to be, like, extremely low. Oh, but actually that doesn't look too hot. Almost. I think maybe it just needs to be like a deep blue and then toned down a lot. Yeah, okay, yeah. It'll need a bit of adjustment, but you can see the vision, TM. So let's just have you and you, and then throw in a map range so that we can really dial it in. It needs to be inverted. Okay. Go. Move that, and then move that down. Why does that seem to be so screwed up? No. And then I just need to, yeah, make it a lot lower. Add in a couple of hue shifts. I feel like I screwed up something big time with this. It's not normalized, which maybe it should at this point. Yeah, that might be better. Why are you taking so long? Oh, no, it's not taking so long to compile. Well, taking the normal amount of time. Here, it's just like that. Okay. So I think the fall off is just a bit much. I may, like, straight up disable it for this. I'm at 0.99. Would be good. Yeah, but let's go and turn it down by a lot. Let's still have that like that. So almost. Just need to bring this down by even more. Okay. And then we can go and dial this in. Okay. Getting there. Slowly but surely. And then also, we can just turn off the noise scale and then leave it like that. Okay. And make it so the lights do appear. Yeah, I'll need to think about this part, because I'm not the happiest with how that looks. Feels like that's a bit too fast, so let me go and slow it down. And it should not evolve at all. Maybe set to like 2, 1. Actually, no, not that one. That one to be like 1. Yeah, okay. I'll keep that in my back pocket, but let's go and turn on the floor again. The studio is nice, even though it's a bit much. Lagging. Oh, my computer is revving up. Uh-oh. Does the sphere have a decimate modifier? That's odd. Let's go to the light, and I'm going to see if I can turn off the specular. Glassing. Yeah, just turn that off. Just don't need that. But it controls both. Yay. Okay, let's leave it on. People will notice it, but that's fine. So yeah, I think I just need to rotate the triangle by a bit. But yeah, let's go and see like what orientation makes it a bit better. And we're at 1 hour and 25 minutes. Okay, a bit long for a project like this. So I think I will call it here. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. But yeah, this project was successful. Even though the light is still having a whale of a time with low point precision errors. Or, the soft shadows are having issues. That's what I meant. Yeah. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all had a fantastic time. Let me read the chat one more time because I keep neglecting all of you. I'm so sorry. Let's see. Okay, people are having conversations in there. Yep, that's good, good. I just finished my Blender project as well and saw your stream notification. That's nice. I'm glad you're here. Let's see. Wish I could be that good at geometry nodes one day. Well, with practice and just knowing math. Again, the math is the essential part. Knowing the nodes, like, it's just like, oh, this is that and that is that. Okay. But knowing the math and the logic, that just transcends programs. Like, I've played around, like, I've used Houdini professionally. I've played around with Touch Designer and all that, Unreal Engine, Unity. Vector math is vector math. It stays the same between the programs, like 4x4 matrices are used in all the programs. So, if you learn the math, the programs will follow easily. The programs, when you learn enough of the math, the programs become like, oh, what's the limiter? What's the limitations in geometry nodes? What's the limitations in this and that? But just learn the math, and everything will be good. Alright, I'm gonna go and render this out. And that'll all be grand. Change this to be 1024 by 1024 because I like the power of 2 now. Okay, that looks so funny in solid view, but it works. Alright, thank you all for watching. I'll see you all next time. Have a good one.